Hi everyone, Stepan here, recording a video after a week. I've been at a tournament in the east of Croatia, in a small village called Gradište, where unfortunately I had no Wi-Fi and the conditions weren't really allowing me to record. I didn't even have a signal on my phone, so I couldn't share Wi-Fi from my phone, and it was basically impossible to record. There was one bar in the village, one shop, one bakery, and in the bar there was Wi-Fi, but I couldn't really record with a bunch of people. So anyway, a lot of mosquitoes, a lot of heat, and it was nice to be in a small village, but kind of strange, and I couldn't really relax or get enough rest because of the heat and because of the animals and the mosquitoes. It was really hard, but still it was a great tournament. So anyway, in round one, I ended up being in the top half of the tournament, and I played an opponent who didn't have a FIDE rating, and I defeated him. I won a piece, then won the queen, so I didn't really want to analyze that game. It's not really interesting. And then in round two, I got paired against a female grandmaster, woman grandmaster, WGM Voiska from Bulgaria, who is a really strong player, has been playing for a long time and has a lot of experience. I had time to prepare and I expected a different opening. We ended up playing the modern. I was white, and I have to say that's the strangest game I've ever played. On move 6, we were already below 1 hour, both of us, and it was game in 90 with a 30-second increment. Before I continue, I've played 3 games against unrated opponents. One of them was rated 1400, so I don't really want to analyze them. I'm going to be covering 6 games, out of which I lost 3, won 1 and drew 2. So 3 wins I'm not going to analyze because they were quite easy, and I didn't get lucky with the pairing. I played 3 unrated players, and I had one disgusting defeat, a completely winning position against the 1700. And first I blundered into a draw, then irritated I lost the game. So that was sort of a setback. Other than that, it was a good tournament. Yesterday I played the last round, and had I won, I would have been in a plus with my ELO rating. Now I'm on it's 0. I didn't lose, didn't win. And had I won, I would have also won the cash prize to up to 2000 ELO rating. Should have been great, but unfortunately I drew a pawn up in the end game in a winning position in side note. But anyway, let's focus on this game. If you want to know more about the tournament, just ask me in the comments below, and I'll be glad to answer. So okay, after e4, she played g6, I played d4, bishop g7, and bishop e3. This is what I play now usually against the modern, and she surprised me with c6. I've been looking at several games of hers where she plays the immediate d5. I've also seen games when she plays c6, d5, but in this game something strange happened. Here I was considering several things, and I played c4, which I thought was the best move, trying to meet d5. And I expected queen b6, which she played. After queen b6, I played queen d2. And this is the starting position in which I didn't know what she was going to play. I calculated several moves, and I was very surprised to see c5 on the board. So she played c6 and c5 and queen b6, which I've never seen, breaking up my center, and all of a sudden the position is really hard for me to play. The most natural move in the world, knight f3, loses material. If I play knight f3, then simply knight c6, and there's nothing I can do to save material. If I play d4, d5, then bishop takes or queen takes. It doesn't matter, I lose my rook and the pawn. So e5 should be played, and then c takes d4. If I take with the knight, then bishop takes e5. If I take with the bishop, then knight takes, queen takes, knight takes, and I lose a lot of material. Once again, bishop takes b2, I'm going to lose my rook. So the most natural response, knight f3, is completely losing, and I soon saw that I had only one move. So e5. And at this point, we've both already spent half an hour of our clocks, which is really strange since at least two moves out of the opening were normal. So e4, g6, d4, bishop g7, bishop e3, that was all played at tempo. And then for c6, c4, queen b6, queen d2, c5, e5, we spent half an hour each. And I was at least glad to see that she was thinking as well that she didn't know the position perfect or something. After e5, I'm defending everything. But the problem is that after c d4, bishop d4, queen c7, I need to support my pawn. The engine wants me to give the pawn away with knight c3. I've checked, and if I play knight f3, then once again knight c6 is going to be played. I'm going to be losing material. So f4 is the only move. And now after knight c6, I'm under tremendous pressure. The best idea probably was to play knight f3, give up my bishop, knight takes d4, knight takes d4, knight h6, let's say knight c3, developing normally, the position is equal. After knight c6, I didn't want to give up my bishop. So I was looking at bishop c3, which was probably a good move, but I didn't want to take away the c3 square. I was looking at bishop e3 and bishop f2. And funnily enough, bishop f2 loses immediately because of knight takes e5. Now if I take, he's just going to check and win my rook once again. So bishop f2 doesn't work. As I said, I didn't want to play bishop c3, so I played bishop e3, which in this position black is already better. After f6, I have to take ef6, knight f6, knight c3, and tremendous pressure, knight g4. And here I had to make a decision, a practical one, to give up my bishop pair, and I castled, which I thought was the best move. Knight takes e3, queen takes e3, castles, and here I was sort of happy. Because I managed to untangle, I'm not getting mated. The center is blown up, but now my rook is more active, my queen is more active. I have a nice bishop on f1, I can play g2, bishop, g3, bishop g2, so I was sort of happy. G3, queen a5, and now I analyzed this position with Mate, my coach, and in the game I played the move a3, entering this worse position, worse ending in which I have doubled c-pawns. But I still played well after that. And he suggested the move knight e2, which for some reason I didn't like. I don't remember why. And now that I see it, it makes perfect sense. I definitely should have played that. And then to continue with bishop g2. So in hindsight, this was a much better move. But after a3, as I said, this position occurred. She played d6, now threatening to win my c4 pawn with knight a5, bishop e6, so I started defending. And I saw knight e2 as the best move, and it was the best move. I saw bishop g4 and that she could play it, but after bishop g4 I calculated the variation correctly. h3, bishop f3. If she retreats the bishop, then I'm just going to play g4. f3, rook h2, and now after knight a5 I don't have to defend my pawn, my c4 pawn, and I'm not losing the exchange because I have the tactical rook f2 attacking the bishop instead. And once the bishop takes, I still take with the rook because I have pressure on the e7 pawn. So I was happy here, my calculation was correct, and I think I equalized here and my position was fine. I do have a worse structure, but it's okay. Rook a to e8 was played, and now I played bishop g2. Once again, not defending, but counter-attacking. And if she takes, of course, I'm going to win the knight. So knight b3 check was played, king c2, and now knight c5. And this was, in fact, a mistake by her. Even though the knight looks fine, I managed to find a great move now and almost get a winning position, rook b1. After rook b1, I'm attacking the b7 pawn, and believe it or not, there's no way to defend it. The most obvious move, b6, fails miserably to bishop c6. And after rook c8 attacking my bishop, of course, I can't take the pawn because my bishop is hanging. I have bishop d5 check. And after e6, bishop e6, knight e6, rook e6, rook c4, rook d6, the position is much better for white. A clear pawn up and winning probably. And also after rook b1, if she plays rook b8, then I just take rook takes e7, and once again the position is losing. So after rook b1, she, of course, being a grandmaster, played the best move, king f7. And now I took bishop takes b7, pawn up. And after rook b8, I lost the game immediately, unfortunately. So I don't know what got into me. I completely miscalculated the variation, completely missed the point, the whole point. And of course, the variation as it should go is simply bishop f3. And rook takes, king takes, she needs to play rook check, I play rook b2, and here I have the irrelevant pawn up, I'm slightly better, but she can try like king f6, king f5, but there's not really much she can do to win this position. In my opinion, this is probably the best she can get, and this should be a draw, or I should be slightly better. However, after bishop b7, rook b8, for some reason I thought I had to trade the rooks, and that was a huge blunder. So I played the check for no reason. Here, just to be able to take the rook and activate her rook. And now I still have to move my bishop away, and after I move my bishop away, just rook b3, and the position is completely losing. I'm going to lose my a3 pawn, and I'm going to lose the game. So from here on, 10 more moves were played, and then I resigned. But the fact that I completely missed this, that I thought that, oh, she's going to take my a3 pawn, it doesn't matter. It's just, this is probably the worst point of my tournament, the weakest move I did. Because it wasn't a clear blunder, it wasn't a simple oversight, it was a calculated mistake, and it was just bad. So basically after this I need to activate my rook. Rook takes, rook b1, trying to save the position, but now just an exchange of rooks. Her knight is much better than my bishop, a passed a pawn, and here, or a move later, I gave up and resigned. This is completely winning, because she didn't even have to play this. She could have played simply here, attacking my pawn. I have to take, and you can see that this is just completely lost. There's nothing I can do. So game 2 didn't go well. Could have gone well if I had played bishop f3, then it probably would have been a draw. I would have been the one with slight winning chances. So I was quite devastated after this, but I think I played a good game up to that point. Considering that I've never played such a position, I think I managed to defend well. She was, of course, much better throughout the game, and probably her exchanging the queens was a bad idea. Probably my a3 move was a bad idea, knight e2 was much better. And I'm not sure I deserved the draw after that opening, because she outplayed me and outsmarted me completely, but I did manage to defend well. So finding bishop f3, yeah, would have been much better. So okay, this was round 2. In round 3, as I said, I played another unrated opponent, or 1400 opponent, so I'm not going to analyze that game. Played the black pieces and won. And I'm going to be analyzing round 4, I'm sorry, next, which I also lost against the 2200. But it was my first piece sacrifice during the first 10 moves, and I have to say it was one of my favorite games, ever. Really exciting and sacrificial and stuff like that. Okay, so round 2, unfortunately, I lost because of one bad mistake, and yeah, that was it. Came back to my room. Back to mosquitoes, back to flies and heat, and yeah, it's really hard to prepare when when it's that humid and that hot, and when there's that many bugs around. At least for me. So from now on, I've decided that I'm not going to go to villages anymore when I cannot get normal accommodation. I was staying at a house which belongs to the brother of the tournament director. So, I mean, all the people were great. It was amazing, and they were all the neighbors knew us. We talked to everybody, and the whole village knew that there was a tournament there, which was great. But I sort of would like to have better conditions in the future, because it's really hard to prepare when you are unrested and when you are not feeling well. Okay, let me know what you think of the game. Let me know. Let me know if you're okay with me not analyzing my wins against unrated players, because I don't think that would be as instructive. And stay tuned for more chess. Thanks very much. By the way, those who are following me on Patreon are going to get extra material for this game, as always. And yeah, thanks very much. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.